Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nicole, and this is another episode of Sol y Punto. I'm here with my dog Oso, and we are up on the hill just waiting for a helicopter to go by and the wind to calm down. But as we are out in the countryside, there will be countryside noises and grass as a microphone. I hope that you are all doing well. If this is your first time here, welcome to this little knitting podcast, knitting journal. Like I said, my name is Nicole. I am a New Yorker living and knitting in the south of Spain, in Granada, in this beautiful city with gorgeous hills and green landscapes and mountains in the background. I am a natural dyer and a knitter and an all-around creative, herbal, loving person. Typically at the end of each episode, we highlight a plant. There's been a lot of episodes so far where we talk about lots of different plants, and I think that today we're going to talk about trees. Trees are my subject that I would like to learn more about, and I know that when you are teaching and explaining things to other people, it helps you learn. So hopefully we can both learn about some interesting trees. I've got one in mind that I've been working with for some time now, and I really want to share with you. Let's see if Oso gets settled. Oso, are you gonna hang out? He's like, not really. And the wind, let's see if the wind doesn't make too much noise in this video for us. But today we will talk about knitting adventures, some travels I've done. We'll talk about what I'm wearing, which is a finished object, although I didn't knit it. I'm very lucky. I've got friends who knit and gift me things. We will talk about another finished object, which I have in here. We will talk about Si Viaje. We will talk about Save the Sheep. We will hear this helicopter. And remember, these episodes are bilingual. That means if you speak Spanish, or if you want to listen to me speak in Spanish, you can flip over to the other episode. And I tried to say the same thing. We'll see. All right. So, as always, we're going to travel in time and jump around with different things, but I hope that I can accompany you while you sip some tea or a nice glass of wine, or work on your newest project or your oldest project, or what have you. Stick around to the end if you want to hear about the plant that I'm going to highlight, the tree that I'm going to highlight today, and thanks for coming back. All right, we didn't travel too far. First, I want to show you what I am wearing. Let's see if I can sit up a little bit. This is a new top, which already is full of plants and seeds and traveling pieces of plant material. This is a top that was designed and knit by my dear friend Antonio Beagle Knits. This top is called Nicole Top Nicole, or Nicole T for me, because I'm Nicole. And this was a design that my friend Antonio made. When he drew the picture and showed me the design idea, he was doing a submission for something very interesting, and he designed a few different tops. And when he showed me the sketches and I saw this one, like even just the drawing of the person with like short hair and like with a skirt on, I was like, that's me. And like he had colored it in like lime green. I was like, Antonio, that one's for me. So he ended up actually making it, and he just released the pattern, and it's so cool. I am so grateful that he gifted it to me. There are two versions, so I have two versions in the same color, but that's okay. Two versions. There's a long version, which I'm wearing today. Hello, helicopter. Also, who are they looking for? Anyway, there's a long version, which I'm wearing now, which comes down to like my waist, and then there's a shorter version which is like here, which is really cute if you are wearing like a dress or something. I mean, I'm wearing this one over a dress today, but both are super cute, and it's a really fun, here I'll move back a little bit, it's a very fun knit, right Oso? It's a very fun knit because you start down here and you knit up here, and then you pick up along the sides because it's modular, and you go, I think you knit the front piece and the back piece, and then you knit along the sides. It's a very interesting construction, although it's knit in pieces, like it's knit in pieces that build onto each other, modular knitting, so you don't actually have to sew anything. Everything is just like connected because you are picking up stitches and continuing. And it has this like super easy little lace pattern. It looks like very nice to remember. I don't know, I didn't knit it, so. And this was knit in like a cotton blend, I'm not sure what else it has, by Lana Alpaca. And Antonio is going to do a Nicole knit along until the summer solstice around there, like the end of June. So if anyone else wants to knit it, he says that you can knit it in like a week, like it's pretty easy. I don't know, I didn't knit it again. But I'm very grateful to have these new tops for summer, and they're so cute. And then you like do on the side like a 3-needle bind off, which is really fun. I'm going to put here a little reel that Antonio made, if I can, yeah, I'm gonna put the reel here so you can see me and Conchi. Conchi's another knitting friend from here in Granada, and she was modeling the short version and I'm modeling the long version. So super cute. Highly recommend this knit. I think it's great for summer. And yeah, join in to the Nicole T knit along. More things. Okay, so now I want to show you my Luxino shawl and explain all of the travels that I had with this shawl. Right, Oso? And you stayed here, but you were well taken care of, right? My boyfriend was like, it was like the military. Like, you baby him. I'm sure that my boyfriend did not treat him like the military. He was like, yeah, he had to do his training. Anyway, so this is the Luxino shawl, and yes, there is a helicopter because people are taking pictures of the mountains or something. So this shawl was begun in the airport of Madrid, Barajas on April 11th. I started during my 5-hour delay, which I never have delays at the airport, but if you're a knitter and they did not mind you taking those needles through security, 5-hour delay is fine because you get to work on your project and make friends. I made friends with these funny people who are also going to New York. And then the airline gave us 12 euros to spend at the airport. So we went and had a drink and some snacks with my new friends, and it was fine. Because they gave us 12 euros to spend because of the delay. Honestly, I don't know what was happening because, oh, you would like to walk. You're done with podcasting, aren't you? We're going to go and we're going to walk, but we have to tell everyone about our shawl. Aren't you excited about it? Aquí, ponte aquí. So, this shawl, we started in the airport, and this shawl I knit my entire time while I was in the States, traveling around the States. Okay, sir. Traveling around the States, and then I finished it in the hostel of Sevilla right before the Sunday of Sevilla Teje, Sevilla Knits. So don't look too close because there's definitely some mistakes in the lace pattern because this was knit sitting around a fire, talking with friends, doing different things. So I really should have just had a pair of socks or something easy to knit while I was on this adventure. But that couldn't happen because I wanted to finish this. This was a self-imposed deadline. I wanted to have it finished by Sevilla Teje, the knitting festival. I wanted to have it before at least Sunday so that I could wear it during our knitting bingo event, which is like kind of like tradition now at Sevilla Teje. Anyway, so this was knit with the 4th edition of Save the Sheep, which if you don't know that project, we'll talk about it later on. It's an amazing project by these really cool people. Save the sheep! Salvar la oveja! Yes, so we started in the Madrid airport. I was going to the States to do some lovely, lovely things. When I arrived in, oh, I was telling you about the fiber. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about the bird. I just saw a magpie. So, this is the fiber from the 4th edition of Save the Sheep. It is the 80% of the Bronya sheep, which is a sheep that is endangered. It is an endangered breed of sheep from the Luxino area of Italy. Let's see, we've got a little insect. Oh no, I have the Lohenia sheep. This was our 2nd edition of Save the Sheep. I have the booklet here with the information. But this is the Bronya sheep, and the Bronya sheep is a beautiful little sheep. And this was blended with 20% of hemp. And so it's a really nice and light shawl for the spring-summer season. So I'm really excited to have it and to be able to wear it. Oh, thank you, Oso. I mean, we came up quite a hill, so we did quite a walk. So he can chill for a little bit. We're just having a breather and having a little chat. Yes. So this blend is really beautiful, and it was dyed with indigo and then an overbath and overdye of eucalyptus. So indigo is blue and eucalyptus dye is like a yellow color. So I got this gorgeous, like greenish, tealish color. And yeah, even though there are don't look too much at the edging because I kind of made it up. The design is by Antonio. Antonio always makes a design to go with our Save the Sheep edition yarn. And this shawl has a beautiful border, but I kind of made mine up. And we have these baubles here, but these are really interesting because they're like Latvian nubs. I think they're from Latvia, but they're just like, it's another way of doing it. So all of his patterns for Save the Sheep are accompanied by videos, so you can watch him, not just read what he says to do, but you do like, I forget how we did it, a bunch of yarn overs and then like pass them over each other, something like that, I don't remember. But yes, so I knit this on my trip to the States. So now I just want to tell you a little bit about that without making you all really jealous about how amazing it was, because it was so amazing and I'm so grateful. I was saying in the Spanish version that this episode is going to be called like Nicole is so grateful. I'm so grateful for my new Nicole top. I'm so grateful for this project of Save the Sheep and to be able to have fun and naturally dye all this wool and to get to know all of these different breeds. It's really cool. And I'm so grateful for my trip to the States and all of my amazing people in that country. I'm so grateful for my oso and all of my amazing people in this country. So it's just like so grateful. But I will tell you a little bit. Got off the plane in New York, amazing. My parents, my little brother, all my family on Long Island there. So wonderful. And then that first Saturday, I gave a workshop in Cleo's. If you don't know Cleo's, Cleo's yarn shop in Brooklyn, highly recommend it. It's in East Williamsburg, a very cool part of Brooklyn. And there's like really cool bars around there, little cafes, and the yarn shop is so amazing. It's like in this like garage. They have like this like garage door that opens, so it's like a very open space. And they have so many cool events. They have my workshops whenever I'm in town. This is the second time I've done it, and I'm so grateful to Cleo for being like, absolutely, Nicole, like our doors are always open for you. Our people love your workshops. Come back whenever you want. So that's really cool. And we did the event during the Brooklyn Yarn Crawl, so it was a little bit difficult because there were so many people coming in and out, and it was like we did like a drop-in version of the workshop. I hope that next time, if there's a next time, that we can do more of a sit-down one like my first workshop, because I think that I had so much I wanted to say to everyone that I felt like it was like moving really fast because it was like this other style of like a drop-in workshop. But still, it was amazing. And like, I've been seeing people's results of what they made because they took home their little Tamagotchi solar dye mason jars of yarn, and the color combinations and coolness that they are creating, top. So highly recommend Cleo's Yarn Shop. If you're in New York, go check it out. Tell her I say hi. I love her space and I love the people that come in there. It's so cool. Miguel came to pick me up, my dear friend Miguel, who lives in New York, and if you're in New York, he organizes these really cool New York City knitters meetups. So follow him. His handle on Instagram is tacos, tequila, and tejido, because who doesn't want tacos, tequila, and knits? Miguel. So Miguel picked me up. He took me to the diviest dive bar right down the corner. I was like, oh my God, Miguel, this is like the place that I want to be. Like, you know me. He's like, I didn't mean to take you here, but we're here. And we were waiting for some other knitting friends there. And it was so great to see Miguel. Miguel came on the first edition of the Camino de Santiago, all the way from New York, and he walked with us, and we had so much fun. And he's coming back this year, so if anyone else wants to come, it's happening the second week of August. You should come to Kami Knitting. You know you want to. Come on, let's walk. Let's do it. Yeah, so Miguel picked me up. We went there after the workshop. We got some nachos, some beer, and then Shamika and Pedro showed up, and I was so excited to see Shamika. I love Shamika. If you don't know her, she's amazing. She also has vlogs and podcasts on YouTube. There's a conversation that I had with her on my channel way back when. Like, I always remind you all because I think that they're so good. There are so many interviews and conversations on this YouTube channel that I recommend you going back and checking out, like the conversation with me and Shamika. But like, you could go back years because I used to do that a lot. So there's a lot. Maybe we'll do some more. Right, Oso? Yes. So super fun. Then I went to go see some of my friends from university. Like, it was really great to reunite with people I hadn't seen in a long time, all thanks to knitting. The reason why I went to the States was because I was invited to Maria Mascarella's birthday extravaganza, and I told her a year ago when she invited me, I was like, I will be there. I don't know how it's gonna happen because that's really difficult for me to like fly to New York, then fly to North Carolina, and like figure all that out and economically and whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna make it work. I'll be there. And the stars aligned and I was able to go. Oh my God, it was so amazing. It was so amazing. And not only that, but I was able to go first to go see my brother and my little conejito, my little rabbit nephew. I call him a rabbit because I am a fire rabbit in the Chinese zodiac, and my nephew, Ben, is a water rabbit. So I feel very connected to him. Not only is he my first nephew, but like, we're rabbits. And he's so freaking cute. Oh my God. I didn't like post any pictures on Instagram of him because he's a baby and I don't want to share those pictures of him, but just imagine the cutest baby in the world, and that's Ben. Like, he's so freaking cute. And it was so great to go hang out with him. Now he's a year old, and also my brother and my sister-in-law. But my little Ben and their dog Bogey, oh my God, we had so much fun. So I went there first, and then I took a 10-hour bus ride to go over to Asheville, where the birthday extravaganza was happening. And that was so much fun. I mean, Asheville, not the bus ride. The bus ride, honestly, because I had hyped myself up for it for so long, like, I just knit on my shawl. I stopped at the stops to get like biscuits and eggs for breakfast. Like, it really wasn't. I made friends with the bus driver and other people on the bus. Like, Greyhound buses are not as bad as they say. In the States, I don't know if you're from Spain and watching this, in the States, people don't take buses. Like, it's not that normal. Like it is in Europe. Like, I think in Europe we use buses so much more than they do in the States. So everyone was like, you're gonna take a bus? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a bus. And it was good. It was great. It cost $20 to go from Wilmington to Asheville. That's insane. Anyway, so got to Asheville and Maria picked me up, which was so cool. I hadn't seen Maria in a bunch of years. Maria and I actually became friends through the interwebs, and then we met in real life a couple years back when I was in Asheville another time, which is crazy, that I've been to Asheville now twice. Such a cool city. I love it. It reminds me a lot of Granada because it's a little bit like funky and hipster and cool, and it's like the foothills of some mountains, like very similar to this city. Anyway, so Maria picked me up, so I'll talk about like all of my amazing friends that I met there, in order of them arriving, because it was really cool because like people arrived, we all like arrived like in stages, and then we all kind of like left in stages too. So it was such a wonderful group. There were 6 of us total, and we were all knitters, and we all shared the common bond of fiber and our dear friend Maria. So it was great. It was really great. So Maria picked me up. If you don't know Maria used to have a podcast, and I think she still does, but I mean, it used to be called Ninja Chickens. So you can follow her by looking up Ninja Chickens or looking up Daughters of the Red Sunset, which is her new name. And Maria is an herbalist. She is a medicine woman. She is a spinner. She is a fiber artist. She is an eco-printing natural dye woman of the woods, and I love her so much. And I am so grateful that she invited me to her amazing, amazing birthday extravaganza. We had so much fun. So Maria, I will leave her stuff down below so that you can check out her website. She makes really amazing tinctures and like herbal remedies and like hot cocoa mixes, blends. She's got a butterpaw flea flower tincture, which is blue. Highly recommend. She's got like this hawthorn like heart remedy, which has linden flowers from Granada, which is also really cool. She's got everything. She's got eco-printed love. She gifted us eco-printed silk pillowcases. And also, do we not love them? We love them. We really do. Oso puts his little head on it sometimes too. I know that sounds weird if you're not a dog person, but like he's everywhere. It's unavoidable at this point. Right? You're just everywhere. What are we gonna do? Right? Yes. So, check out her page. Okay, so in the car with her was, sitting in the front seat, Hannalisa. If you don't know Hannalisa, I highly recommend you checking out her podcast. She's got a podcast called Making Stories, and she's got a little magazine called Making Stories. If you don't know it, I highly recommend it because she was knitting a top that was so cool, and we all want to knit it as well. It is like knit constructed like from one side to the other. It's got like short rows, so it's got like it's beautiful, but it also looked super simple, and I think that it looks amazing. She showed it on her last episode, finished, and I was just so excited about it, and I want to knit it too. So Making Stories is a really cool magazine. Oh, so please, can you please sit? Making Stories is a really cool magazine, and there are 11 issues so far. Yeah? Really? Are you gonna block me? Venga, bebé, ponte aquí. Mira. He's very opinionated. He's like, it's time to walk, Nicole. We will. So Making Stories is amazing. There are like all these patterns in the book. You can get the physical copy or you can get the digital copy. And if you buy the physical copy, it comes with the digital version as well, which I think is really nice. So you can have it on the go if you're going somewhere and you want to reference something. I know that like in the 11th edition, there are 12 patterns and 1 poem, which I think is so sweet. And it's really beautiful. If you sign up for her mailing list, you can actually get one of the older issues for free in the digital version, which is really, really generous of her. So, because all of the designs that she curates is chef's kiss. So highly recommend that. And she has an online website, so you can get fiber for like spinning, you can get yarn. She's got really interesting things, so I would highly recommend heading over and checking out all that Hannalisa does. And she's the sweetest, and it was so nice to spend time with her. Then in the car with Maria and Hannalisa was Jess, and Jess is amazing. Jess lives like on the other side of the country, out on the west coast, near the Puget Sound, and she has a fiber mill. So she is blending wool together of different shapes and animals, alpacas, and making her own wool, which I think is just such a glorious thing to do and such a necessary thing to do. We need more mills. We need more people processing wool, because all of this industry, like here in Spain, I don't really know of that many places where they actually spin the fiber and process the fiber, and we need that part of the production line because we want the fiber. So it's really cool. Her website, you can find her stuff at Skagit Woolen, and yeah, I saw her fiber there in person, and it was so squishy and amazing and delicious, and I'm just really excited about everything she's doing. It was really funny because one night we were talking and we discovered that I have my stitch markers in a few shops, like around here in Europe and over in the States, like only a few shops. But I had like 3 different shops make custom orders, because I make like the little stitch marker cards with like the logo of the shop and everything. And I had 3 orders that finally went through, like right before I was going to book and plan this trip, which allowed me to make this trip, because if it hadn't been for that, like I wouldn't have been able to get these flights and these things to go to this other country that is very expensive and everything. And one of those shops was Wild Fibers, and that is Jess's like local yarn shop, like right next door. So cool. She was like, oh my God, like, you know Brooke, you know this shop, like I know, like they're my people. And so that was really special and magical and wonderful. And again, I'm so grateful to the shops that were able to take in my markers at the beginning of this year. Wild Fibers out on the West Coast. So if any of you are out on the West Coast or are near any of these shops and can order online or go visit them, so Wild Fibers. And then in North Carolina, we had Black Mountain Yarn Shop. So we went to go visit them and see my markers in person. And Jess's Fiber was there too. So that was really magical. Like our stuff is in the same shop in North Carolina in Black Mountain, which is a gorgeous place. And also in Great Yarns, which is over in Raleigh. So if those are your local yarn shops, you can find my markers there, and like very specific custom stones and cards. So very cool. Yeah, so that was Jess. And then who arrived next? Arrived next was Debra. Oh my gosh, Debra is just full of life and such an amazing person, and it was really great to get to know her. So Debra is like an astrophysicist, scientist, professor in Arkansas. And she, I don't know my geography of the States. It's been a long time. I feel like my brain like kind of makes room for some things, and sometimes I forget like really basic stuff from the United States. Anyway, so she's from the South. She's a university professor, and she's amazing. But she's also a practicing witch. So not only is she a scientist, but she's a witch. And she wrote the coolest book, which I have a copy of, and I highly recommend all of you getting a copy of. It's called Weather Magic, like weather, like the weather. In Spanish, weather is tiempo, and tiempo is also time. So when I would tell my friends about the book in Spanish, I was like, magia del tiempo, like magic of the time. And they were like, of the time or of the weather? So I think that's interesting that weather and time is the same word in Spanish. Just like hoja means like pages of a book or leaves. And in Catalan it also is that, and in French it also is that, and in English we have 2 words. Leaves and pages. Anyway. So Debra was amazing. You can follow her on Instagram. She also has a podcast. The book is super cool because it mixes like the science and the magic. And I think that we need to bridge that gap more. And I'm loving it. I'm savoring it and reading it slowly and enjoying it, but really special. So Debra's amazing. Highly recommend checking her out. I'm going to leave all the information down below. So the last but not least, our friend Marceline came, and that was so wonderful. Oh my god, the house just smelled like bacon and eggs in the morning. Like, she spoiled us with that good American breakfast and like coffee. Oh my god, so amazing. So Mars is Hey Brown Berry. I'm sure you know her. If you don't, what are you waiting for? She's got an awesome podcast, and she's an amazing person, and we had so much fun. Like, all of these friends, like, our connection was Maria and Fiber, but like all together, like, we had such a good time. Like, I felt so nourished, and like it was so good because like everyone was always like cooking, sharing, like we just had a great time. Mars also loves making fire, so she would like be out there in the morning like starting the fire. We'd sit around knitting and chatting and like plan our day out, and just, it was really good. We had a really, really, really good time. We went to the Arboretum one day, and we were sitting there and like knitting, and people kept coming up and being like, wow, what are you doing? Highly recommend knitting in public because you will make so many friends, and like people will be inspired by you knitting in public. And so it was really funny because like one woman who came up, she's like, oh my god, Mars, you're Hey Brown Berry, like I totally follow you. And she was like fangirling, like so excited. And that happens because the knitting community is kind of small. We kind of all do something special in it, so I feel like it's easy to like know of someone. And yeah, anyway, amazing, amazing, amazing time. I highly recommend getting out and knitting in public so you can make some new knitting friends, going on like knitting events, knitting retreats, like the Camino de Santiago, you know, like you can make friends. I don't know if I said this in Spanish now or English. I don't even know what language I'm talking. But yes, highly recommend spending time with other fiber artists because it's a really wonderful thing to do. I think all knitters and fibery people, we're generally pretty good people. Right, Elsa? You like us too? Okay, so yeah. Then I went back to New York. My little brother had invited me to a concert in Brooklyn, which I actually like recorded some of it and put it on the channel. So if you want to listen to it, I love that band, Lost Dog Street Band. We love them. And other people, Resonant Rogues opened for them, and they were from Asheville. And I was like, what a small world. And they're amazing. I bought their vinyl and they signed it for me, and I'm like loving listening to it. So lots of things. Ooh, when we were at Goodwill, Annalisa found one skein of lonely magpie fibers. And you know I love the magpies. Like, there was just a magpie over there. I'm a magpie fan. And she found one skein of magpie fibers, and I adopted it because it was $1. And it's beautiful. So when I make something with it, I'll show you all. Anyway, I finished this shawl, finally, in Sevilla. I did not have anywhere to block it, and I wanted to wear it the next day, so I soaked it, and then with a bunch of like stitch markers, I hung it from the curtains and stretched it out that way, and it dried, and I wore it the next day. So if you're ever in a pinch, get creative. There's always another way to do something, so you can block your shawls on a curtain. Okay, all right, I think we're gonna walk, but we'll be back from another place another time. Love you. Hello from the future. We are out here, different day, different tree, different place. And I wanted to show you a few other things from my journeys. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about the transformation that I did with my seer cloak. So I'm going to add some photos here because I did not bring it with me, but a few years ago, probably when I first had started knitting, I knit I was a test knitter for Maria of Ninja Chickens, or Daughters of the Red Sunset, my dear friend Maria. And I knit her seer cloak, which is a beautiful, like, let lopey coat with a hood. It's a cloak actually, and it was very long and it had color work around the bottom. It was the first time that I had done color work, and there were cables. It was just gorgeous, but I never wore it because where was I going to go with a cape, you know? It was beautiful for the photos, but realistically it was too warm for like a medium day, like a mild day. But it wasn't warm enough when it was like really cold, because it was like it buttoned here, but then this was kind of open, and then like your arms were under the cloaky part. So I didn't use it. I think it could be useful maybe if it were like shorter, like I did a very long version of it. I think that there are ways where it could be useful or like used more, but I never used it. And the other reason why I never used it was because I wasn't happy about how the color work worked out, because it was the first time I had done color work. Like when I was knitting it, it was a lot tighter than the rest of the body, which was like stockinette and seed stitch. And so it kind of had this effect where it, like at the bottom where the color work was, it kind of went in, and I didn't like that. So for all those reasons, it sat in my closet for a couple of years. And there cannot be a huge pile of beautiful let lopey sitting in my closet for years, because the moths are gonna find it and it's just gonna disappear. So I decided to do a little surgery on it. And what I did was I cut off the bottom strip of that beautiful color work and set that aside, because I knew that at some point I would do something with it. And it was a cape, so imagine like a triangle shape. Not really, well, yeah, kind of like a triangle. Well, I cut into the sides to make sleeves. I cut, and then I cut a little bit, but it's still a bell shape. And then with my sewing machine, I sewed the seams of the sleeves. So now I have a hoodie cardigan with sleeves, and it's beautiful. And Oso's gonna vomit from the grass he ate. Hold on. Okay, well, he's better now. I guess, I don't know, he loves eating the grass and then he vomits it up. But he's okay. Are you okay, Oso? He's fine. Anyway, so I was explaining about this cardigan that I made. And so after that, I needed to do something. I sit right next to me. He's nice and wet because he was in the fountain. It is a very warm day today. It's only 11 a.m., but it is hot, and I see a dog down there. There's always something up here in the woods. Today's a holiday here in Spain, and so there's a lot of people like taking their dogs out, and people are mowing the lawn. Although this is public land, so I don't know who's working on a national holiday. Well, it's a local holiday. Anyway. So with the band of color work, I decided that I wanted to make matching little like boleros, little like crop, like shrugs. I think we call them a shrug in English. And so what I did was, it was very, very, very long. So I divided it in half. I wanted to make one for me and one for Maria, who is the designer of this pattern. And I was going to her birthday, so I wanted to bring her lots of gifts. So what I did was I took the colorwork band and wrapped it around like this. And then I picked up along the back, so like the band kind of stands up here and goes like that. And so I picked up along the edge of the back and knit down to knit a back part. Then I added on stitches to go under and around, and then I connected that to the flap of colorwork that went down. So I connected that at the bottom, and then knit some ribbing to go down, like a border on the bottom. And then I put a beautiful little ceramic button that comes from my dear friend in Chile who actually gave me these earrings as well. And it's super cute. So I put the little button, I knit a little I-cord to put the button on, and then I did it again, another one for Maria. And then I did an I-cord edge around the armholes, and honestly, I think it came out super cute. So I have some pictures of the two of us wearing our little shrugs, and I thought it was great because out of one item that I didn't wear, there were 3. What's better than that? So I suggest that you repurpose, rework your items that you have sitting in your closet that for some reason you're not 100% happy with, because we are crafters, we are knitters, and we can do so many things with what we have. We can change it, we can recycle it, we can create something new. So I'm really proud of that because I think it's really cool. The seer cloak, which turned into a seer cardigan, and 2 seer shrugs. So let's see what else we have here. Magic! I didn't tell you what I was wearing before, but this is my Sol y Yodo top, and I turned it around because this top is reversible. This is my design. It's very simple. The pattern is kind of like a recipe because you can make it really any size that you want. It's very simple. It's very nice for summer to wear over the bathing suit or something like that, or over a dress, or just with a pair of shorts. And yeah, it's very easy. I've talked about it a lot in other episodes, but I just wanted to show you what I am wearing. Sol y Yodo. It is knit in 2 pieces, and then you pick up on the sides and then knit together, and then you can make this piece as wide as you want depending on like how big your square has turned out. This is knit in cotton, so it has a lot of stretch to it, and it's cool because you can do 2 different colors. Like here I had the green, what I was wearing before, and now we have the blue side, and you could turn it around in the middle of like a hangout and people will be like, what? How did that happen? Magic, the magic of knitting. Oh, the possibilities. So I wanted to quickly show you Save the Sheep. So you are probably, if you follow us on Instagram, you will have seen information about the Advent kits, but they are available for pre-sale. I know it seems kind of crazy to order your Advent kit now in the summer, but Antonio and I need to prepare everything. We need to dye the yarn, and it's so much easier to dye in summer because the yarn will dry faster. And also there's lots of things like to harvest, and so I much prefer dyeing in summer, and also I have more time. So we are doing the pre-orders now. Also, we have already like reserved our yarn, but we haven't paid for it yet because we have people sometimes ask, do you have like government grants or something for Save the Sheep? No, it's just us. And so we use our money to buy things and to do things. And so therefore, if you can help us and do a pre-order now, that would be amazing. And if not, they will be available until they sell out. We don't know when that will be, but they will not be sent out to you until the end of autumn. So they will be in your house so that you can start the Advent knit along on the 1st of December. If you don't know what that is, go check out our Instagram because I talk about it at length in English, Spanish, and Italian. So you can check all that out. But it is a mystery knit along where there are clues that are sent to your inbox every day. Every clue also has a video attached to it so you can see how it's being knit. And you knit along with a whole bunch of knitters from all around the world, and you are going to create an item that is the same as everyone else, which is really beautiful. Yeah. So we're really proud of Save the Sheep. It's really exciting that we are now on the 5th edition. This is the Sopravisana sheep. We met this family when we went, well, Antonio knew them from other Italian events, but I had met Julia and her family when we went to Italy in September with Save the Sheep. And it was really amazing to be with them. Like, they were the coolest family, like 2 little kids, and they just told us their story, and it was really amazing, and we want to be part of that, and we want to work with them and work with their yarn, because this yarn is more than just a yarn. It is the yarn of a family, a project, a dream, and that's really cool. And it's very small production. They have their sheep there, they have their mill, and the Sopravisana is a breed of sheep that is endangered. It is a relatively young breed of sheep, because it comes from a cross between the Visana sheep and the Rambouillet from France. Apparently the King of France had gifted to the Pope in Italy, when Italy wasn't all Italy, it was, so it's gifted to the Pope, the Rambouillet, and then they breeded them with the Visana, and they created the Super Visana. So that's the Sopra Visana. So it's like Super Visana sheep. So it's like a super, super wool. I love it. It is a beautiful twist here. So this will be naturally dyed. You can tell us if you have any color preferences, if you prefer more pink, if you prefer warm colors, cool colors. If you want blue, if you want green, you can let us know. If not, you will be surprised. And that is the joy of Advent season and that time of year. Surprises and gifts and things like that. Obviously, our kits come with lots of extra gifts. They will delight and surprise you, I'm sure. So join us, become part of the Save the Sheep family, and we will be very grateful, because we love this project. I love dyeing all the yarn, and I love learning about all these new sheep and working with these new people. And I love the community that Save the Sheep creates, and the people who are constantly like repeating. We have people who've done like all 5 editions, which is amazing. And they're collecting the books of each of the sheeps that they have helped to save, bring visibility to, you know? So we would very much appreciate if you did your pre-orders now, so that we can get dyeing and get ready and get everything prepared, because as knitters we know that things take a long time. You can't just, like, if you want a sweater, you got to start 6 weeks ago at least. Okay, more things. Hi friends. So I want to show you what is living in my new project bag. This is such a cool bag from Ailema Loca. I think the idea is amazing. So she took like tags of different yarn. For example, Robledal, Sevilla. I had to have this one because like everything, like I love Sevilla, I love Robledal, Rosa Craft, Pasquali. But then, look at this side. Who's that? TTT, Tintigan Time Talks Advent 2021. So I've been doing like Advents for a really long time now. I remember probably the first one, maybe it was in 2020, 2019. I don't know when it was, but I did the first Advent of just stitch markers. And I don't know if anyone here participated in that. Oh, and before that, Maria of Daughters of the Red Sunset organized like Advent exchanges. Like, I love Advent season. And this was one that I did with Aida of naturally dyed yarn and my stitch markers, and that was really fun because like each stitch marker like had a story on the card. Did anyone here participate in the TTT Advent 2021? Let me know down below. Aida and I are constantly talking about bringing back our Tintigan Time Talks. She had her second baby, and just knitting has gone a different way, but she told me she's knitting a lot now, so hopefully we will do that again soon, right Aida? We will be back. Also we have La Americana, which is me, the American girl, Senorita Yarns, these chickens. I don't know who these chickens are. Does anyone know what brand this is? Farmer's Wool, Hedgehog Fibers. Oh my god, I didn't even realize that there's hedgehog on here too. Aida. Yeah, so in here I am working on, oh, and actually it's really cool because I love the inside of this bag, and it has a little pocket. Amelia's bags are always like very well constructed, so highly recommend checking them out. And I have a crystal. This is from Debra. Thanks, Debra. Debra actually like harvested this crystal like from the land. Like, isn't that amazing? And I just keep it on this like stitch marker thing to protect my project, to keep it safe and happily knit. And what are we working on? This is the Sol sweater, the sun sweater. It is a design of my wonderful, amazing Marianela Gallo. And this needs to be blocked, but the body's done. I will work on, I'm going to pick up the sleeves. So the body, it's really cool because the part in the back, you actually knit some short rows so that the back is longer than the front, which I think is cool. And I knit it on a very loose gauge. I knit it with a 5mm needle. And this is the Madrilana yarn from Delana. And it's really, there's definitely also dog hairs in there, but if you can see, it's really beautiful because the colors, I think that it was dyed first and then spun, which is really cool. And whenever I go to a yarn festival, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that well, a little bit. Whenever I go to a yarn festival, I look at the yarn, I'm like, I could dye that with natural dyes, I could dye but this one, until I learned to spin, I couldn't. So I was like, this is perfect. This is something that I can bring home with me, and I can make a sun sweater. And I've got my Camino de Santiago stitch marker. So yeah, I finished this last night, the body, and I'm going to pick up the sleeves. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the sleeves. I might follow the pattern, I might not, we'll see. I think that I did make a little bit of a mistake on the yoke because I kind of started making the vanilla stitches too soon. Because I think that they should happen a little bit lower, but it's okay. I think I'm gonna make another one. I think I would like it in like I think I want to just make like a summer top with it because it's such a fun pattern, and because you've got these vanilla stitches, like the yoke goes by really fast and you're like, oh, it's time to separate for sleeves already. So I'm super excited. This is the year where I would like to knit more items and less shawls because I have too many shawls. Now I need sweaters and things and socks, right, Osa? Okay, you want to see? I'm gonna try it on. Okay, cool. It's Keith. Oh, sorry. I'm here without shoes on, and there are lots of spiky bits inside the olive tree. So yeah. So I really like it. I think it's beautiful. I like that it's knit like in a very loose gauge. That idea, you can do that with anything. It doesn't have to be a ranunculus. It can be your friend's pattern. So knit your friend's patterns because we need to because they're beautiful. Not because we even need to knit them, just because they're beautiful, and it's really nice to knit something that came from your friend's head. Yeah. So there is my Sol sweater. More things.
La vida, y yo ahora mismo no tengo nada preparado. Y esto hoy es una realidad por el...
Okay, and we're back to green. I just wanted to show you what's living in my Teckle Knits bag. Is a little sock. A little baby sock. Look at this. It's not for a baby, it's actually for me. But this is hedgehog fibers and life in the long grass. This is beautiful yarn that my dear Teckle Knits gifted to me. And I knit a Sol y Yodo top with this yarn, and then I dyed it brown because it was too colorful for me to have. Where was I gonna go with these colors? It's too much. I don't live in Sevilla anymore. In Sevilla, there's like, people are a lot brighter. And so, yeah. So I dyed it brown, but that's okay. With natural dyes, it's beautiful. But socks, I can have colorful socks. So I'm knitting this. I have so many little minis that I'm just gonna knit whatever colors I feel like. But these are the ones I'm knitting with now. And yeah. All right, so I think that it is time now to go to the plant section. I wish you all well. Thank you for everything, and I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, year. Ciao. Okay, so I'm here today to talk about a tree. We're going to talk about slippery elm. You probably know the elm tree, but this is a specific kind of elm also known as red elm, gray elm, soft elm, moose elm, or even Indian elm. The scientific name is Ulmus rubra, and it is a species of the elm tree, which is native to North America. It's a deciduous tree, and the leaves are red when they first emerge. And then they turn dark green by summer and to a pale yellow in autumn. It has like a red-brown fruit, and it is a samara. I don't know how to pronounce samara, but this is like an oval, like winged fruit. So any trees or plants that have their seeds with like a wing, I don't know, like maple seeds, you can see, we used to call those polynoses. I don't know why. We would like open them, put them on our nose. And it like allows the seed to like fly away, like to fly away from the tree and be planted somewhere else and grow somewhere away from the mother tree. So this tree, the Ulmus rubra, which is slippery elm, is native to eastern North America. You can find it like all the way from like southern Quebec down to like northern Florida on the east coast. This tree is less susceptible to the Dutch elm disease, but it is damaged by the elm leaf beetles. And this plant, well, this tree, the inner bark of the tree is used medicinally because it is a demulcent. You could also use the leaves and dried into a powder to make tea. But the inner bark is normally what is used and what I have been using to make slippery elm balls. And yeah, the inner bark is edible both raw or like cooked or boiled or dried. And actually, I found on the internet that slippery elm tablets were chewed by spitball pitchers to enhance the effectiveness of the saliva that they applied to make the pitched baseball like curve. I don't know. My family are baseball people, but I don't really know very much about baseball. But anyway, it has a very fibrous inner bark. That also can be used to be spun into thread or twine or rope. Yeah, and this is used medicinally because it increases like mucus secretion and like makes like a really cooling anti-inflammatory coat for like all of the digestive tract, but also the respiratory tract. You can imagine like things that are mucilaginous or demulcent. If you think about chia seeds, like when you put chia seeds into water, they get that like they plump up and then they have that like jelly, almost like slimy, but it's very soothing and healing. And it like coats the digestive tract, reduces inflammation. It also absorbs toxins, which is great. Imagine if you have like food poisoning or something, you can use this inner bark to help with that. And it's really beneficial for the gut, for like the healthy bacteria growth in the gut, which improves digestion overall. And yes, it also is good on the skin. It can soothe and heal wounds, burns, skin irritation. It's an excellent remedy for like coughs and respiratory issues, for like sore throats, to reduce inflammation there. It's interesting because I was wondering, how do you harvest the inner bark of the tree without hurting the tree? But I was watching a video of this guy down in Asheville, down in North Carolina, and he went out to like the hollows, like down in between the mountain ridges and the hills, and that's where he found these slippery elms, and he cut them down, and he killed the tree to get the inner bark. But I did read in other places where you can do it more sustainably, maybe just using the bark from like branches, not the whole trunk of the tree. So I think that there we have to look into slippery elm and sustainable harvesting practices. It's known as Indian elm, I think, because the Native Americans in North America used this, and then the Europeans and the settlers were like, oh, that looks interesting. So I'd be curious if anyone knows more information about like sustainably harvesting inner bark from trees, or is it just the trees need to be sacrificed to get that? I mean, how can you sustainably harvest lettuce? You're gonna eat the lettuce plant. We use these things, but we have to be mindful of how we use them. Whenever you're using the bark or the roots of a plant, yeah, obviously, you're going to be taking the life of that being most of the time. Anyway, I have been making slippery elm balls, which you can find videos and websites online talking about this. But what I do is I just like, almost like you're making pie crust. So I use the powder of the slippery elm bark, and then I put in some honey. I like put a dollop of honey, and then kind of just like work it into the powder as if it were like flour, and it's a pie crust, you know, you go working it. And then once it's like got a pretty firm consistency, then you can break it into balls and roll it up, maybe add some more of the bark powder, and they're wonderful. You can just like put them in your mouth and let them dissolve. I keep them in the fridge so they get even harder and more solid. And then you can put them in your mouth and let them dissolve. Like if you're feeling like a scratchy throat, it's wonderful for that. And then also for digestive issues. So I think it's wonderful. And if you are interested, you can try it out. And the oven timer has done. So that is all for now. Thank you all for being here. It has been a wonderful episode. I loved sharing with you all of my adventures, and we'll be back again soon. Ciao.